Welcome to Techi Jack. Today in this video, you will see a real world use case that is really very useful and time saving for IT admins. We are going to install and configuring an IIS web server on multiple nodes with different sample websites and dynamically creating DNS entries for each website. And the best part is that all this will happen automatically with the help of Ansible. You just need to introduce fresh servers and Ansible will take care of every task. Normally in a traditional Windows setup, this involves like logging into each server manually, installing IIS via PowerShell or GUI, editing HTML files in Notepad for creating websites, and adding a record manually. Now imagine doing this on 10 to 50 servers. That's tedious, inconsistent and error prone. That is exactly why Ansible is so powerful even in Windows environment. If you see the manual admin work to install the IIS server, you have to manually visit to the physical server or RDP to the server, then install the IIS via PowerShell or GUI, then manually create the HTML file and configure the DNS manually. And there is no tracking or versioning while doing it manually. But with the help of the Ansible, there is a one playbook for all server and Windows feature module to install the Windows feature. And WinCopy module is used to copy the website. WinShell module is used to run the PowerShell command to add a DNS resource record, and it is full YAML playbook plus GitOps ready. So let's see our scenario. What we are going to do here is we have a Ansible controlling node with the Rocky Linux 8.10. We have an Active Directory server with the DNS zone, that is techijack.net. And the IP address is 192.168.12.102 as a DNS server. And in the other hand, we have a two workgroup server which has a Windows Server 2022 installed on it, and the IP is 103 and 104. So our task is to install the IIS on all the three servers, and also we will create a different website on all the three servers. Also we can install a single website on all three servers to achieve a high availability. And one thing to note here is these two workgroup server which has a server 2022 installed, that has a preferred DNS of a Active Directory, that is 102. With Ansible, everything is repeatable, auditable and consistent. You get the agentless automation, idempotency and cross-platform control, all in a few lines of YAML. So to walk us through how this works and how we are automating even DNS entries with PowerShell inside Ansible, let me hand over to my friend Nikhil, who's been doing some incredible work with Ansible on Windows.
Thank you so much. Yes, what we are showing today is the end-to-end automation of a IIS deployment plus DNS record creation using just one Ansible playbook. Let me walk you through the playbook. So this is our Ansible control node. So in this I have already created a directory called web server. So inside this I have a playbook called webserver.dns.yml file. So let's go inside this. This particular playbook is having a two plays. In our previous video we have shown like we are running one play only inside one playbook, but this time we are running two plays inside one playbook. Basically one play will connect to the Windows machine to configure the IIS web server, and another play will be connecting with the DNS server where it will add a record for the IIS web server. So let me take you through each task one by one. In this particular play we are trying to connect with the Windows host, and in this particular task we are trying to install the web server, that is a IIS feature on the Windows machine. So it's going to install the feature on all the Windows machine which is under the group. Then it will start the service, that is a W3 service, and it will be enabled on the reboot as well because we are enabling the start mode equal to auto. And then we are creating a web page index.html file. So the page which we are creating is dynamic, so it will print a message that hello from IIS on the host name. So it will pick the host name from each of the node and updating on the web server. Then we are trying to connect with the DNS server to add an entry on it. So first of all we are enabling the feature, that is a DNS feature, and then we are using a native PowerShell command to create a record on our Windows DNS server. The best part is we can make this dynamic by using a host variables or facts. So as you can see we are using the host variable called Windows. In our previous videos we have shown like we have created a group pairs for the Windows. So let me show you that. So in the inventory file we have a variable that is a Windows variable and the DNS variable. Okay, so here we have specified these variable, and using these we are trying to create a entry in the DNS. And if you see, the structure got changed in this particular playbook. Why? Because we are using the host name as well as the Ansible host information, that is the IP address, which will be later on used for the DNS server configuration. So we are using the Ansible host and the host name. I will show you where I am using these. In this particular task, I am using a get DNS service record command to check the existence of the record, if it is already there or not. Here we are creating a variable called existing, and then I am running a command that is a get DNS service record and the zone name. And here if you see name, the name is coming from the host name which we store in the inventory file. Then it's trying to see it is been created or not. Then it will pass on to the if condition. Here I added the if condition to check if the record is exist or not. If the record does not exist, then it will add a record in the DNS. So here I am adding a record. So for that I am using a PowerShell command, add DNS servers record A. And here also I am using a dynamic host name along with the zone name. And here I am also using the IP address. If you remember, I have showed you that I am using the variable that is Ansible host with the IP address in the inventory file. This is the same variable I am referencing here. And at last, if we want to scale across multiple hosts, and if you want to deploy this to 3, 10 or 15 or more servers, so we can easily make it dynamic by using inventory, Ansible host or the domain name, and loop through the host variables to create a unique record per machine. So this particular task, we have created a unique record for each of the host or the machine, but in this task we are creating a single A record which is referencing to the web.techiject.net. User just need to hit to this particular URL or the DNS name. At the backend, it will be connecting with all the 3 web servers which we have configured. So it will be creating a high available environment web servers. So if you see here, I am using the same command, that is add DNS server resource record A, and here I am giving a name that is web. Zone will remain same, but here I am also using the same variable which we have referenced in our previous task, that is Ansible host. So here also we are looping through the group wheres, that is Windows, and inside that we are picking up the each IP address of each node. Now let's try to run this playbook and let's see how it works. So let me clear the screen. So for that, Ansible -playbook -i inventory and the playbook name. First of all, it will gather the facts. This time we are using the gather facts information because we are using the Ansible _ hostname for creating a web page for each servers. Now it's trying to enable the IIS feature on all the 3 nodes. Now it installed the IIS feature on the DC01 machine, and it also installed it on the rest of the servers as well. Now it's trying to start the service. The service got started. Now it's creating a custom index.html page on each of the node with unique host name of the respective machine. Now it's moved to the DNS configuration task. So it's again gathering the facts, and it's now enabling the DNS feature on the node. Now it's time to create a DNS record for all the web server dynamically. So it will create a 3 DNS A record for each web server so that we can use it using the DNS name. So DNS record got created for the DC01. Now it created a DNS A record for individual servers. Now it's time to add a A record entry for web.techiject.net, which internally connect with these servers. So it worked fine, and as we can see, it configured the DNS for web.techiject.net as well. Let me try to establish a connection with the web servers. So I'm using a curl command, http web-server.techiject.net. As we can see, we are able to connect with the web server. Let's try to connect with another web server, that is -02. And we can see we are able to connect with this server as well. And let's try to connect with the web.techiject.net. As we can see, it's able to establish a connection with the web.techiject.net. Let's try to connect with the one of the host. So we are connected with the 102 node, and let's try to see the DNS entry there. So let's see the forward lookup zone for the techiject.net, and we can see we have a DNS A record for all the hosts, that is web as a high available nodes, and for web server 1 and web server 02, and for the DC01. So we have everything set up here. Let's try to connect with the web.techiject.net here. We can see we are able to connect with the web server 02 at the back end. Now we can see it connected with the web server 1 as well. Our playbook worked fine. Let's try to connect with the individual web server using the browser as well. So let me use the web server techiject.net, and we can see we are able to establish a connection from the web browser as well. So our web servers and the DNS record for all the individual nodes are working fine. Let me also show you the inventory file. Here this time we are using the 2 groups. If you notice in this particular playbook, we are connecting with the Windows group as well as we are connecting with the DNS server group. In the inventory file, let me clear the screen. I created two groups. One is for the Windows node, where we are creating a IIS servers. Another is a DNS server. This is the same node which we use for the IIS as well. And on this server, we have also configured the DNS server. So we are creating a record entry on this server by running the PowerShell command using the Ansible. That's it for today's video. If you want to go deep diver into Ansible or Windows, I have covered the topics like playbook optimization, error handling. You can find all of it on the Technic YouTube channel.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell icon to get notified whenever I post new content.